Hello, I am Dave Ackman of the Gateway Division of the National Model Railroad Association, and I'd like to welcome you to this very short introduction into the use of TinkerCAD. You may be here because you attended one of my clinics on using generator software to create primitive objects for use as model railroad structures. Most folks start out creating a basic building, such as a freight house. But then they quickly see the need to punch holes in the structure for doors and windows, and then would like to export their modifications for 3D printing. And that is what we are going to cover in this presentation. I am going to teach you just a few very basic techniques in a free CAD package called TinkerCAD, which will prove absolutely indispensable to bring these primitive elements into really useful models. And we are going to take less than 6 minutes to do so, hopefully with even less pain than a COVID-19 injection, even if you have never used a CAD package before. I promise I will be gentle. Here's what you need to know: how to import an STL file into TinkerCAD, how to rotate the model view, how to zoom the model view, how to pan the model view, how to add a hole to a model for a window or door, how to resize a hole or model shape, how to align holes or shapes, how to rename model files, and how to export a model for 3D printing. TinkerCAD is a web-based application which you can start by visiting http://www.tinkercad.com from your web browser. When you do this for the first time, you will need to create a TinkerCAD account. But since this is far from my first time using TinkerCAD, I go directly to the main screen. To import our freight house, we click on the blue and white button to Create New Design. The design screen appears, and we click on the Import button in the upper right. The Import Shapes box appears, and we click on the Choose a File button and select the STL file that OpenSCAD has created for us. TinkerCAD does allow us to alter the scaling of the model, but since we specified the dimensions to our liking in the generator, we just click on the Import button, and after a brief delay, the image appears on the screen. Now for some instructions on basic navigation. To rotate our viewpoint, we just hold down the right mouse button and move the mouse. To zoom in or out, we just rotate the mouse wheel. To pan up, down, left, or right, we press and hold the mouse wheel and then move the mouse. Pretty basic stuff. Next, let's add a hole in a wall for a door. A standard door is 80 inches tall, or 23.32 millimeters in HO scale. So let's add a hole to the front wall. To do so, we click on the gray cube shape and drag it to where we want it, and then release the mouse. The default size of a shape in TinkerCAD is 20 millimeters on a side, so we need to alter the size of the hole. I want the hole to be about 2 millimeters smaller than the door, so I click on the black squares on the edge of the hole shape to make a dimension box appear. I then click on the box and enter a new value for the length, depth, or height of the hole. Arbitrarily, I'll make it 15.5 millimeters long, 5 millimeters deep, and 21 millimeters tall. I probably will need to reposition the hole after resizing it, which I do by dragging it into a position I like. Once done, I group the hole and the building to complete the task. To do so, I lasso both the building and the hole to select them both, and then click on the group icon to complete the operation. If at a later date you wish to move the hole, just select the building and click on the ungroup icon. Let's give this technique another try and add 2 holes for windows. Now let's add a rectangular hole and then resize the hole to 10 millimeters wide, 15 millimeters tall, and 5 millimeters deep. We can also use the black cone tool to raise the hole 6 millimeters above the work plane. To make a duplicate of the window, we use the standard Windows operations of copy and paste and drag the window holes to a desired position. Now, just for grins, I'm going to move one of the hole shapes and show you how to get them back in alignment. To align the window holes, I click on one and then shift-click on the other to select them both. With both holes selected, I click on the Align tool and select one or more of the align points. I group the window holes with the building and then have holes into which I can snap my windows. With my 3D printer, I often need to make my holes 0.75 millimeters wider and taller than the actual windows, but your mileage may vary. TinkerCAD gives our model files funky names, and I like to rename mine by clicking on the name and entering a new value. Finally, to export our modified freight house, we click on the Export button, and TinkerCAD places the modified model to our Downloads folder, from which we can direct it to our 3D printer following our manufacturer's directions. There are many other tools and tricks in TinkerCAD, and if you want to learn more, take a look at YouTube for tutorials. I particularly like the 6-part series by Promo Ambitions. Well, that's about it. You now know the 9 basic tasks you need to know in TinkerCAD or any CAD package. But most folks really learn best when they have something they want to do and are in a teachable moment. So start playing around. Above all, learn and have fun. Thanks for listening.